Howdy y'all, it's Cody from the Keepers of Nerdom. How y'all doing? I wanted to give some thoughts really quickly on the new GW updates as far as what's coming out in January for Warhammer 40k. This is big stuff. We're just going to look through some of the things in the balanced data slate that's coming out, the at least the speculation, the rumors. Uh, there's a lot of big stuff that we're gonna look at. So apparently it's out 14th. That's a big deal. That'll be coming up because I guess there's some tournaments going on around then. One of the big things that they're changing is that aircraft have to start off the board in strategic reserve. So I think that may actually mean you can't come in until turn 2, but it does mean it's both a good and bad thing, right? The good thing is your aircraft cannot get one-shotted. So if your opponent goes first, they can shoot down your aircraft before you even get to do anything. But it also means that you have a turn to do things before aircraft come in. That's big. That's good. That's not a bad thing. That is helpful. Armor of Contempt, according to the rumors, is in fact gone. As a Necron player, right, I didn't get Armor of Contempt. My guns, all of a sudden, when Armor of Contempt came out, it felt like, at least against Space Marine players, pea shooters, right? And the ones that didn't get them was Adeptus Custodes, and I have a good friend that plays Custodes, and it was very frustrating for him that he didn't get this bonus even though he's supposed to be the elite of the elite army, right? And he didn't get the bonus. Very bizarre, very weird. And that being gone, all of a sudden my AP -2 weapons are useful again. My AP -1 weapons actually have AP again. And that's big. Like, I was literally playing Mefrit at home against my friends just because I needed the extra half range AP bonus, and sometimes on 6s getting the AP just to get to their invuln saves to actually make it possible to down units, like to down models in a unit and to get rid of an entire unit. It was that scary of a time, and I'm glad to see it finally going away. We're still not there yet, but it's good because one of my other friends plays Grey Knights, and needless to say, Grey Knights, they don't need Armor of Contempt as far as survivability. They have their own bonuses as is. Next kind of things, let's just go through several of the factions because a lot of my friends play a lot of these different characters. We've got regular Space Marines, we've got Astra Militarum, Grey Knights, Custodes, and Leagues Votan, and then I play Necrons. And also kind of Tau, but they haven't really been much of anything. So apparently, though, a lot of the Space Marines factions are going to actually be gaining a lot of points reductions, and free war gear. Okay, that's scary, especially against Grey Knights. The other ones, I don't really care. Sure, whatever. It kind of makes sense because they were pretty weak, but this is scary, just because these point drops. All of a sudden these Space Marines are going to be weak again as far as survivability, but point drops means there's going to be more of them on the board, and that's a bit scary at times. So yeah, I just don't know that the Grey Knights needed the Armor of Contempt, but that's only because I've played against them. They just have so much offensive capability. It's kind of sickening to see what all they could do. So Space Marines, I hope they get fixed a little bit with the points drops, but I think honestly taking that away from them hurts them quite a bit. But at the same time, at least against Grey Knights, it was very frustrating because you just couldn't get through with some of the other bonuses that they had in play as well. Astra Militarum, they don't have Armor Contempt. Barrage Exemption is gone. Okay. Apparently their codex makes them really strong. I haven't gotten to play my friend's Astra Militarum yet, but I really want to because he's got Leman Russ tanks, and I want to see him fully. Because I've played against the Leman Russ tanks, but not the full faction, right? Because he was playing them just with Space Marines because we were just trying to figure stuff out. Deptus Sororitas, I really want to get into these. If this Sisters Battle, right? Yeah. I really want to get into them at some point. They lose the Armor of Contempt, so that hurts, but the points changes looks like, is it +2 points for their costs? So right now it looks like, at least from this, that they actually went up in points. It's kind of bizarre, but I'm guessing that they just don't know the points changes yet. Adeptus Custodes, objective secured possible on Terminator units, which is good because those guys can break down into one unit, one model per unit, which is really cool. They're not like the greatest piece, but fighting against them with my friend was awesome for him, and it was scary. And I like that. Like, those are good things. one model obsec, right? That's the idea here, is you can keep a backline, because we started needing to start play like not sticky objectives. Be helpful. Adeptus Mechanicus, 10 to 20% points decreases. That could be really big for them. Honestly, they're kind of an interesting faction to me. They look really cool and fun, and kind of challenging to paint though at times. So I don't know. I don't know what a Cataphron is, but apparently it's getting core, which is good. So awesome. I'm guessing Cataphrons are they're like not tank, but a guy on the chassis of a tank. Kind of weird. Grey Knights. We already talked about Armor Contempt. All 2 points cheaper for the Strike Marines. Terminators 5 points cheaper. Characters -15. Chaplains. Dragos -15. Chaplains -10. Apothecary -10. Librarian -5. Overall, this is going to be big for them, and that's terrifying. Yeah. Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights, nothing just yet that we can see. There is a big new troop detachment thing, and that's kind of terrifyingly scary, but if there's some points decreases for troops across the board, for the troop faction, like troop pieces inside your builds of your faction, that could be useful. The Chaos Demons, who cares? Apparently Flamers are not going to be auto hit and become ballistic skill 4+, so they become way less powerful, because apparently a lot of factions were just using Flamers, and then points decreases across the board on a lot of them. That's crazy weird. So they're getting points decreases, but they're losing some usefulness to a weapon type. Interesting. And Chaos Space Marines, Armor Contempt already gone. Abaddon the Despoiler's going up by 30 or 50 points. Terminators are increased in points. Noise Marines points increased. So they're losing Armor Contempt and getting points increased. Better secondary objectives. So apparently their secondary objectives weren't very good, and they're going to improve. Cool. That's a thing. And I'd like to give a big shout out, by the way, to Auspex Tactics, who covered all this information in a really great way. So side note, check out his channel as well. Death Guard, Plague Marines, 19 points. And so they're getting some sort of slight buff with their point values, I'm guessing. Free upgrades for things, which is pretty crazy. Elite characters -5 points, Blight Spawns -10. Vehicles, bloat drones, nothing too crazy there. Blight Hauler might be down a few points. Let's see, Thousand Suns. By the way, some of these models are just crazy, and I haven't even looked at all of them. So, not a whole lot going on here, but some points increase for Scarab Occult Terminators and Mutalith Vortex Beasts -10 points there. Eldar Harlequins, apparently their invuln save is going from a 4+ to a 5+, which is big. Yeah, and some points increases. That's pretty crazy. So the other Eldari don't really have much coming as far as we can tell. Tyranids, tons and tons of points increases across the board. Tyranid Warriors +10. Raveners +15. Zoanthropes +20. Winged Hive Tyrants +20. Tyrant Guard +5. Carnifex we don't know yet. Tyrannifex +20. Verminithropes +5. Harpy Guns, don't know yet. Overrun, core only. Spore Mines cost reinforcement points. Crazy stuff for the Tyranids, which is fine with me. We have a friend that has them, but they hasn't played a whole lot. Gene Stealer Cults. Apparently they're getting some points increases, which is kind of sad, because apparently they've not been good anyway. Don't know. Weird. For Jackal Bikes +3 points, and Aberrants -2 points, or 3, not sure. And most characters down around 10% of their point value. So they get some buffs, they get some nerfs. Leagues of Votann. Most units increased in points by about 5%. And if you've played against Votann and played against those silly bikes, this is a big deal. We don't really know much, because that's all we've got, but even 5% increase across the board would be pretty massive, because all of a sudden they would be not as good. That's okay. Orcs, don't really know a whole lot on this yet, so we're just going to move on. We'll see. Tau, points increases to crisis suits and commanders, another 5 points to them. Kroot plus 1 point. I don't know what a Kroot is. Sunshark affected by flyer nerf. Okay, cool. That's one of their flyers. Yeah. Necrons. We have very limited things given. Like, there's nothing on here other than secondary objectives nerfed, which apparently their secondary objectives are really good. We could just score points like crazy, even though we could get Necrons would get tabled all the time, but they just win the game because they would score points. So I get it, but it's kind of frustrating. It's like Necrons obviously are not in a good spot as far as playability, but they can score lots and lots of points because of what you've given them. I hope we get some points decreases on a few things somewhere just to make us more big and nasty. So overall, I'm nervous. I'm excited. I'm curious to see what we're gonna get in this, because I think this is going to change the game pretty drastically, right? Armor of Contempt being gone again, that's big for my Necrons, because all of a sudden my guns that are supposed to be epic wreckers of everything now will be epic wreckers of everything against the Marines again. And I am so excited for that. But it's also, I know, for those that use them, obviously that's going to be frustrating, because then all of a sudden they're going to get shot to high heaven again. And we'll see. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. This is an interesting thing. I've been wanting to do a video on this for a while now, and finally got a chance to just go through it and run through it all. I think this is going to be some massive changes to our game, and I think some of them really excite me. But I also think if Necrons don't get some love in other places with their secondary objectives nerfed, I think they're going to be in a trouble spot, and that's kind of frustrating. So yeah. But overall, I think this is exciting. I just also think for the Space Marines, losing Armor of Contempt is going to be pretty devastating against, especially other more shooty factions even than Necrons. Because playing against Leagues of Votann, I haven't really played against Tau just yet. But from what I understand, like, those are devastating shooting factions. Like Leagues of Votann definitely is, because it just has so many shots for so little. And it's ridiculous. It's fascinating. It's fun. But it's ridiculous. And I say fun only in that I can still survive because of just playing in certain ways, but I have to play very, very carefully. And it's a very devastating faction to play against, because they just start going, you get judged, and you get judged, and you get judged, and you get judged. And also, you're all judged, and now every 4 and up that we hit, we auto wound. And so we don't even have to roll that second time against your toughness. And that's so stupid, frustrating. But anyway, I've been Kobe from the Keepers of Nerdom. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of the balanced data slate change for Warhammer 40K. Take care.